In other news at this hour, ANC Gauteng chairperson Panyaza Lesufi insists that the government of local unity in the City of Johannesburg remains intact despite the resignation of the mayor. Jama-ah councillor Thapelo Amad resigned yesterday ahead of a motion of no confidence in him, which was scheduled to take place today. Amad has been widely criticised for alleged incompetence, with many raising questions about his ability to lead the country's economic hub and the largest metro. This comes after he said in an interview with the SABC that he had secured a prospective 9 billion rand loan, which he claimed would be used for the delivery of basic services and development of a smart city. Meanwhile, Jama-ah leader Khanif Hendricks says they believe that Amad had a successful stint leading the city, and they hope the coalition parties will again choose someone from Jama-ah to be the mayor of Johannesburg. Right, so on this, we are joined via Zoom by Matlala Setlhalogile from the Wits University School of Governance to weigh in on the leadership challenges at the City of Johannesburg. This, of course, following the resignation of Jama-ah's Thapelo Amad. A very good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time here on the SABC.
Afternoon, Lisa.
So, perhaps in reaction to what transpired late yesterday, what do you make of Thapelo Amad's resignation? It's been less than 100 days in office for him.
Well, Lisa, I think the appointment or the election of Thapelo Amad as the mayor of the city of Joburg was a stillborn decision by the ANC and EFF-led coalition in the city of Joburg. I think more than anything else, the situation at the city of Joburg indicates, or rather depicts, or is a classic depiction of the game theory, where both pacts, the DA left pact and the DA, or rather the EFF and the ANC pact, play a zero-sum game of sorts, where the winner takes all. In the midst of that, the ability of the governing coalition to lead and provide services to the residents of the city of Joburg is lost in all of that. I think what we see at play here is politicians attempting to outsmart one another instead of focusing on the provision of services to the city of residents of the city of Joburg.
Matlala, you speak about the game theory, and we've obviously seen, different other scenarios coming through at this point. Some questioning whether this is an embarrassment for the ANC-EFF coalition. We also heard the DA welcoming Amad's resignation, putting Mpho back as their mayoral candidate. How would you weigh in on those sentiments?
I think, firstly, let's start with the nomination of Mpho as the DA's mayoral candidate. That comes as no surprise. I think the Democratic Alliance, had it not been for the motion of no confidence in Mpho about 3 months or so ago, they would have still maintained Mpho as the mayor of the city of Joburg. But in terms of what does this mean, the resignation of Thapelo Amad, for the EFF and the ANC sort of coalition, I think it indicates a number of systematic issues. You'd remember that Thapelo Amad, ultimately, he's a councillor at the city of Joburg. The quality of such a public representative indicates a much more wider challenge of the kind of members of legislation, in this instance at the local government level, councillors, the quality of councillors. You'd remember that mayor ultimately is a councillor. Members of the mayoral committee are also councillors. The election of Thapelo was not necessarily a strategic move from the ANC and EFF-led coalition. It was a haphazard move. It was something that was not necessarily strategically thought out. The capabilities of the said candidate were not necessarily assessed.
Matlala, you speak about strategy. We're looking at the pieces of the puzzle, or the chess moves that are happening at this point as we head into national elections come 2024. A spotlight has also been shone on Panyaza Lesufi as Gauteng ANC chairperson. Perhaps also stability in the metros at large. What's emerging on that front? I mean, he's insisting that the government of local unity remains intact, although the mayor has resigned. What further needs to be explored there in relation to him?
Whether the mayor has resigned or not, Lizelle, I do not necessarily think that is an indication that the government of national unity, or rather the ANC and EFF-led coalition, is in shambles.
Okay.
No, it does not necessarily suggest that. All it says is that they do not necessarily have the confidence that they initially had in this specific candidate. But with regards to the role that the Gauteng PEC, because sometimes we tend to believe that the chairperson as an individual can, provide strategic clarity to provincial executive committees. I would think that the manner in which the ANC in Gauteng generally has approached coalitions has not necessarily been strategic. You'd remember that several months ago, late last year, in the City of Johannesburg, there was a motion of no confidence passed on the mayor. But this very coalition did not necessarily have a candidate to replace the mayor at that time. So the manner in which coalitions have been approached, especially by the ANC in this instance, since you mentioned Panyaza Lesufi, has never been well thought. I do believe that it is time that the African National Congress, especially at national level, devise some sort of framework on how to approach coalition government, whether be at provincial or even local government level. And that should inform the manner in which provincial structures and ultimately regional structures conduct themselves and conduct the negotiations for coalition governments going forward. So I do not think it's a Panyaza Lesufi problem, but rather the ANC problem.
Thank you for those sentiments, Matlala. Just very quickly, in terms of the processes from here into, what do you think should be done differently from previous occasions when choosing the next mayor?
Remember that by virtue of being a councillor, an individual qualifies to be elected as mayor. I think this speaks more to the internal processes of the various political parties involved, rather than a broader framework. I think political parties should conduct their due diligence and their own screening process before forwarding certain candidates forward for such roles of responsibility within government.
Matlala, thank you for your time here on the SABC. Matlala Setlhalogile is from the Wits School of Governance, weighing in on the leadership challenges of the City of Johannesburg. Of course, it comes after Thapelo Amad, the resigned ahead of the motion of no confidence scheduled against him for today. Again, thank you to him for his time and for those sentiments on the SABC.